And welcome, sports fans, to today's Roundtable. And we're coming down to the end of the season for the fall sports here in the state of Missouri and also even Arkansas. We're going to touch on some high school football matchups today that'll be taking place Monday for district championships here in the state of Missouri. And also in here in just a moment, we'll get to the volleyball matchups today for the state championships taking place in the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau. So a big weekend slated for high school sports, and even Monday starting next week. So we'll be gearing down fall sports today, and winter sports practices have already begun. So those will be getting underway in about 3 to 4 weeks. So a lot to look forward to this time of year here in high school athletics. And also Piggott has won their last game of the season last Thursday against Corning, 28-14, and they will advance to the Arkansas 3A playoff. And they got 5th in their conference and secure that playoff spot. They will be moving on to the first round of the Arkansas 3A football playoffs. So wish the best of luck to the Piggott Mohawks going forward. And also talking about those Missouri State volleyball competitions taking place today in the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau. Let's go ahead and take a look at those matchups that will be going on today. And the Bernie Mules, or Lady Mules, will be playing for the state championship in Class 1 against Winona. And in third place at 9 a.m., it'll be Santa Fe taking on Osceola. And in the other matchups, in Class 2, St. Pius will take on Fatima. And in the third place game, Mountain Grove will take on Bishop LeBlond. Actually, that game's going to be starting here momentarily. In Class 3, Westminster Academy will take on Pleasant Hill in the championship tonight at 6. And the third place game at noon, Prairieville taking on St. Pius, and that's out of Kansas City. In Class 4, Lafayette will take on Lee Summit West tonight at 7:30. And the third place game at 1:30, Ozark will take on Francis Howell. And all these games will be streamed live on MSHSAA.TV, Misha.TV. You can go online and watch those games throughout the day from Cape Girardeau at the Show Me Center. And we're going to carry that Bernie and Winona game at 3 o'clock today here on YHC. So look forward to that. You can watch right here on YHC TV, that Misha.TV feed. And we'll have that on for you today at 3 o'clock here on YHC. So look forward to that for today. The Bernie Lady Mules have been well known for their volleyball program and won a few state championships going back to the 90s, and got a chance to do so once again today here in 2012. So we'll see how all that shakes out today from the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau. And again, we're going to carry that game at 3 o'clock, Bernie versus Winona, here on YHC. And be sure to email us, sports@yhctv.com. We'll take your emails here on the air and talk about any postseason matchups you want to discuss, any looking ahead to the winter sports coming up here in the next month. So just send them on to us, sports@yhctv.com. And we're going to take a break and be back with Travis Quertermous. And we're going to talk about these district championship games coming up Monday night. And we'll be back with those coming up.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing. Land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's bride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Welcome to NFL Total Access.
The show that takes you inside the locker room and down on the field. With inside access to all 32 teams all year long. NFL Total Access, Monday through Saturday, only on NFL Network.
NFL Network, where football season never ends.
In addition to unlimited calling, New Wave telephone users have a wide range of great phone features available. And now with the help of New Wave Internet, they're even easier to use thanks to our convenient online phone manager. Just log on to your MyWave portal. Now phone features like call forwarding can be set up instantly from any computer. Reliably activate or deactivate your call forwarding, and even set your home phone to ring once when a call is forwarded. Home telephone service made even better with New Wave Communications. Call today.
Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance is celebrating our 100th year. We started protecting rural farmers way back in 1910, insuring folks no one else would. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance has been a family business for 4 generations, and we continue that tradition today, providing solid home, farm, and commercial insurance at very competitive rates. When the ice storm hit us, we were out there with you. All of our claims were processed within days, and we will continue to provide the best coverage and the best service for the next 100 years. Southeast Missouri Mutual Insurance, a century of service.
And we're along with Travis Quertermous to talk about these district championships in Missouri high school football coming up Monday night. And Travis, is what we've been waiting for, the district championships coming down to the end here come Monday night in the different format, of course, the 18 district tournaments, and they're winding down come Monday night. So we got some big matchups to look forward to.
Well, had some exciting football games on Wednesday night and some exciting games to look forward to come Monday night.
Sure, and we'll start with Class 1. Portageville will host the defending Class 1 state champion Valley Catholic. So that's kind of a game everyone's been looking forward to when it comes to the smaller schools. And Portageville had a great season, 8-1, or I think 7-1. They finished up their season, coming off a 2-8 season. I think a 2-win season the year before.
A winless season before that.
So a big turnaround for the Portageville Bulldogs, and what a test Monday night against Valley Catholic.
Yeah, Coach Bullock has really done a good job coming in there. He's turned that program around nicely. The kids have really bought into what he's selling, and they've had a great season. Had a little bit of a wake-up call there against New Madrid County Central at the end of the season, and now they've got the two-time defending state champion Valley Catholic coming in. A lot of people don't think Portageville has much of a chance here, frankly, but I think the Bulldogs will come to play, and I think that'll be a better game than a lot of people are expecting. Valley Catholic has probably got just a little bit too much firepower, and they've been there before, so the big game situation is not going to intimidate their kids. So every little edge come district championship time is important, and I think Valley in the end will probably have just a little bit too much firepower. But congratulations to Portageville, and as they say, that's why they play the game, right? It's playoff time, and anything can happen.
Sure.
They learned that in Sykeston this week.
Oh, of course. Can you speak to Valley Catholic and what they bring offensively, defensively?
Well, Valley Catholic likes to they like to spread you out. They run that spread offense. They've got an outstanding quarterback. He's coming off of an injury. He had a concussion late in the season, but he's come back here in the playoffs and done really well. And I don't think Portageville has really seen a team that can really beat you through the air like Valley Catholic can. And of course, they're just very well balanced offensively. They'll spread you out and they'll run the football as well. So I think it's going to be a real challenge for Portageville. They've seen a little bit of that with Hayti. Hayti likes to spread you out, and they beat them rather handily last week in the semifinal round. Chaffee likes to run the spread offense, but neither of those teams has the athletes that Valley Catholic has. And it's going to be a real challenge for Portageville. Anything is possible. They have the game at home. They earned the number 1 seed, but it's going to be a real challenge for Coach Bullock and the Bulldogs.
Probably a main thing for the Portageville Bulldogs coming in is defense. They, like you said, they're not going to be able to adjust very well based on the teams that they've played. Valley Catholic, like you said, spread it out, pass it a lot. Portageville, I think Chaffee might have been the team that passed quite a bit. Hayti actually passed quite a bit last week. Got an impressive quarterback there in Hayti.
Yeah, Hayti made a quarterback change late in the season. They moved Carnard Humes out to wide receiver and also put him in the backfield a little bit. And, of course, Carnard's just an outstanding athlete. He's going to perform anywhere you put him. But that was a positive change going forward for Hayti because he'll be back to run. He was a sophomore, I believe. So I believe he'll be back to run that offense for the Indians next year.
Very good. I was really impressed. And Kennard, they put him in a position where he can make plays. He was their big playmaker, and I think they were just a little disappointed that they couldn't free him up to make plays at the quarterback position, move him out to wide receiver, and they moved, golly, I can't remember his name. He's Newbill's another receiver. I can't remember this kid, but his name, because he just came out of nowhere, unexpected. But they started feeding Kennard the ball down the field, and he was making plays, so it really turned out well, that adjustment for the Hayti Indians.
One thing I think that's going to be key, too, for Portageville, Tyler, is just how those kids come out in the big game situation. You know, they came out rather flat against New Madrid when that big rivalry was renewed after 30 years, and they brought the football in on a helicopter and did all the razzmatazz there, and Portageville just came out just flat as a pancake.
Yeah.
And New Madrid really steamrolled them. So I know that's got to be on Coach Bullock's mind, getting his kids ready for the big game situation, the district championship. You've got it at home. There's going to be a lot of pressure on those kids. Hopefully they learn something from the New Madrid game, and they'll come out a little bit better prepared to play.
Sure. And it's going to be a big contrast in styles offensively, especially Portageville. They load up on the line, run a lot of wishbone, 3-back set.
Right.
And Valley Catholic are going to see 5 wide, a lot of the time 4 to 5 wide.
And then they'll run their quarterback out of the backfield, and he's got quite a bit of speed. Yeah, Portageville just wants to line up and just hammer you. I mean, that's classic smash mouth, Southeast Missouri football. Daniel Allen has been their hammer all year long, and he's had an outstanding season. But then they switch you up, and they'll bring Dom Porter in, and Deion Foster, Dom Walker, Porter's from Scott County Central. Yes. So they've got several weapons out of the backfield they'll run. They've got a good young quarterback down there in Bryce Wallace. They might have to open it up a little bit and keep that Valley defense from just loading the box against them. Because they just don't throw the ball a lot down there at Portageville. They haven't had to. But it's going to be a little different story Monday night. So I would look for Coach Bullock. I mean, you want to go with what brought you to the dance, as the old saying goes. They're going to try to run the football, but I think you're going to have to keep that Valley defense honest and throw the football a little bit more than they're accustomed to doing.
And they've shown the ability to pass at times. They really, when they move the ball up the field, running the ball well, they end up doing some play action, rolling out, and hitting some big plays downfield passing. So you never know, that might be in the works.
That's right.
Come Monday night for Portageville.
Special teams will be important in all of these games because field position is going to really be important for the defenses. Obviously, you don't want to set these high-powered offenses up in a short field. You want to make them drive the length of the field. If Portageville can really come out and get the running game going, if they can control the clock, eliminate the turnovers, keep that high-powered Valley offense on the sideline, then I think they've got a shot to win that game.
Yeah, ball control is certainly going to be.
If it turns into a shootout, I don't think that's what game Portageville will win.
Yeah, certainly don't want to come in trying to outscore Valley
No,
Catholic. You got to
absolutely not
be productive in all facets of the game to have a chance in the end. But it should be a good contest. People have been waiting for it all year, just thinking what that matchup will bring. So it should be exciting there in Portageville.
No doubt.
Monday night. All right, let's move on to Class 2, and this is a game Monday night. Crothersville will host Charleston, and Crothersville didn't have any problem with Scott City. I believe that was maybe 46-0 on that one.
Right.
And Charleston defeated Malden 50-30. So a big shootout there between those two teams.
That's right.
And Charleston's showing the ability to put points on the board, move the ball up the field. They've got some ability, especially with Bogan.
Yes,
Bogan out of the backfield. He shows some great ability. And, of course, on the other side, you've got Darrell Monroe for Crothersville on both offense and defense. He's a dual threat there. So and Crothersville's been banged up, but from what I know, I think they're going to be healthy coming into this game.
As healthy as they've been all season long. They've been able to rest some kids and get them healthy. So this is going to be a full-strength Crothersville squad at home. Again, this is going to be a real uphill battle for Charleston, I'm afraid. Again, Charleston is a team that really doesn't throw the ball a lot. Again, they haven't had to. Mike Hull, their quarterback, has been very efficient when he's had to throw the ball. But again, you're only looking at maybe 5-6 times a game on average. Charleston plays a real interesting offensive set. They line their offensive linemen up shoe to shoe, foot to foot, and they just want to bulldoze you. That's not going to work against Crothersville, I'm afraid. They're very strong against the run. They're very opportunistic. They force a lot of turnovers. If Charleston can get the running game going with Bogan and Hull and maybe loosen that defense up, throwing the ball a little bit again, control the clock, not turn the ball over, they've got a shot. But in the end, I think with just like the last game we talked about with Valley and Portageville, I think Carruthersville's just got a little too much firepower.
That's the thing we talked about in the last matchup, being able to move the ball. I mean, you don't have to just score on every drive, but if you move the ball into their territory, get it deep into their territory, and then if you get in 4-down situations, if you happen to turn it over on downs, at least get it down to about 20 or within the 20 to where you've got to challenge Carruthersville and driving the length of the field. So moving the ball is certainly going to be important for the Blue Jays, and Carruthersville, they can break it at any point in the game, and that's what's going to be tough to deal with.
One thing that I think the Tiger team may have benefited from Daryl Monroe's injury, as odd as that sounds, because they've discovered they've got quite a few other athletes that can run the football and run it very successfully. And plus, they've allowed their quarterback, Tyler Grissom, they've opened up the passing game some. And so this is a much more balanced Carruthersville team than we've seen in the past. Last year with Elby Fonda, who won the Carr Trophy, and then Daryl Monroe with that dual threat running back, they just didn't throw the ball hardly at all. And that really hurt them against teams like Maplewood later in the playoffs. But this is a more balanced Carruthersville team. I think they've got the talent, I think, to make it all the way to the Dome this year. I'm really impressed with them.
Sure. And that Class 2 is awful tough. We've seen the past few years Carruthersville thinking they were just going to, run away with, the championship, but they run into Maplewood. And
last 2 years, Maplewood has had their number.
So,
and they'll probably meet up again. Maplewood is likely to win their district come Monday night. And I know if they meet up again, Carruthersville's had to go to Maplewood the last 2 years, and maybe Carruthersville will get that game at home this year. That would certainly be to their advantage.
Sure. And let's move on to Class 3, where St. Genevieve will host Park Hill Central, and these two teams are no stranger to each other.
No,
there's not going to be any surprises coming in. They're right there, up there close together, and pretty much played out the same district for the past many years. So St. Genevieve, Park Hill Central, they played already this year, is that right?
That's right.
St. Gen
won in overtime by 1 point. And Park Hill Central had a real scare with Fredericktown last week. Fredericktown lost that game, I believe, by 1 point. And you mentioned no surprises, but I understand that Park Hill Central pulled a little razzle-dazzle there and scored a touchdown on a trick play, and that was the difference in the ball game. Fredericktown had a chance to they scored the touchdown, and they elected to go for 2, and then they got a false start penalty, and then they elected to go for 2 anyway and go for the win, and it didn't work for them. They came up short. So you never know. I mean, these two teams know each other so well. This is a rematch of a playoff game between these two last year that St. Gen won rather handily. So Park Hills is going to be hungry. But, I wonder psychologically, Park Hill Central has only beaten St. Gen like twice in 25 years. So you've got to wonder in the back of their mind, and they've got to go into St. Gen on that artificial turf. And the only thing that gives me, I think Park Hills might be able to pull this thing out is St. Gen has just not played well in the first half of their first 2 district games. They let Kennett stick around for a half, and then New Madrid gave them a good game for a half. So for some reason, they're just kind of slow coming out of the gate. And if Park Hill Central, they play that ball control offense, and if they can keep again St. Gen's high-powered offense on the sideline, like they did to Maplewood when they beat them 7-0 earlier in the year, they've got a shot. This is going to be a real good, tough, close game. Maybe the best game out of the district championship rounds that we'll see Monday night.
Sure. And speaking of Fredericktown, that's one team that even, looking back right now, they had a chance to come away with a district championship. They had a really strong season. And
they did.
They weren't really getting a lot of notice, more Park Hills and St. Gen coming into this season, but Fredericktown had a strong season.
They really did. They played Maplewood tough. They played St. Gen tough. St. Gen pulled away in that game late, but they ended up, I believe, 6-4 on the season. So they had a real successful season. Their quarterback, Jeremy Grimminger, is maybe the best quarterback in all of Southeast Missouri, at least that I've seen this year. He's passed and thrown for over 1,000 yards. And, of course, Dexter got unfortunately, too good a look at him as they beat us pretty handily in the first round of the district playoffs. But they had a real good team, real good season. Coach Henson's got a great program up there.
Sure. And let's move on to Class 4. And we'll talk about this game first. The Sykeston Cape Central. Cape Central coming away 17-14.
Right. They scored late with like 45 seconds left in the game to pull that one out.
Basically, they just flipped the coin on the Bulldogs from a few weeks ago.
That's
Sykeston
right.
had the ball last, scored on a late drive, and it just turned out to be the opposite result this time.
Yeah, Sykeston has had trouble hanging on to the football all season long, and that fumbleitis come back and bit them hard against Cape Central. As I understand it, one of their running backs fumbled the ball into the end zone, and it rolled out of the back of the end zone, and that, of course, resulted in a Cape Central touchback, and that was the difference in the ball game, from what I understand. So that really hurt Sykeston. Sykeston was the only number 1 seed to go down statewide in the district round. So big upset there. Congratulations to Cape Central. Tyler, there's just something to say about being hot at the end of the season, and Cape Central is sure. They had that tough stretch in the middle of the season. They lost 5 real close football games, so less than a touchdown each game. But they caught fire here at the end of the season, beat Festus twice and got the home seed, and now they've knocked Sykeston off in a big rivalry win. So I look for them to go up there to Hillsboro and win another one. There's just something to say about being hot there at playoff time.
Sure, and they'll take on Hillsboro in Hillsboro. Cape Central is the 5 seed. I think I've got that correct.
The 4 seed.
The 4 seed,
Cape
okay.
Central's 4, Hillsboro's 2.
Okay. Cape Central, the 4 seed, going to take on Hillsboro, the 2nd seed. So, might be the only 4 seed in the. Yeah, they would be the only. I guess they would only be the 4 seed in the state or the district
They would
championship.
be the lowest seed to win a district, as far as I'm aware, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So, it should be interesting to see there in that Class 4 matchup. Cape Central, we've been used to seeing Sykeston just roll through there and go to the playoffs, and might be a little different. Yeah, might be a little different seeing.
Right. And Cape Central's another team that's been nagged by injuries all year long, and they finally got all of their horses healthy at the right time, including their big stud running back Chris Martin, and he had a great game against Sykeston. I think he may have been the only 100-yard rusher against Sykeston all season long. So he had a great game, and I expect that'll continue as they go up to Hillsboro. I like their chances there.
All right, we'll see how it all works out Monday night in Class 5. Jackson Indians back in the district championship. They will travel to Summit, take on Summit, and Jackson's had a strong year. They had a sizable win over Vianney, no problem. So Jackson's put together a nice season.
That's right. Jackson's another program that's been down, like Portageville that we talked about earlier, and also like Portageville, they've had a new coach come in there, and Coach Eckley, and he's really shook things up there and basically took the same group of athletes that only won 2 football games last year and has turned them into the number 1 seed in the district. And so they're really talented. We mentioned that Haytide made a quarterback change, and Jackson did the same. They moved their starting quarterback from the first of the season, Ty Seltzer, out to wide receiver, and brought in a kid by the name of Vandeven, and who's just played lights out for Jackson, and they really took it to Vianney. I think that was a game that some people thought that Jackson might have been in trouble there. They beat Vianney very handily the first or second week of the season, but Vianney had rebounded, had a real nice season. They've got a Division I running back in there that's rushed for over 2,000 yards on the season. But once again, Jackson handled him pretty well and went on to a big victory. I like their chances. Rockwood Summit is going to be a real challenge, real good football team. That'll be a close football game as well, I think. But in the end, I think a little home cooking, and Jackson pulls out the victory there.
Yeah, Jackson. I think that one's going to be on the road. I think
no, that's
Rockwood,
in Jackson.
Is it?
Jackson's the top seed there.
I thought Rockwood Summit was the top seed in that district there. So Jackson, prestigious program there for years, and they've had a little lull, as you mentioned. And
that's right.
I'm sure the pit's going to be fired up for Monday night.
No doubt about it. It'll be a hostile environment for Summit to come into, and I think they'll have a long ride home.
That's one place that's probably as close to a college atmosphere as you'll find.
It really
is. And the way the stadium is, because they don't have a track around their football field,
That's right.
And those bleachers are right on top of the sideline. So I know it really bears down on especially the visiting side there in Jackson. So it's actually a great atmosphere for high school football.
That'll be a real good football game. Again, I think turnovers and field position, special teams will really tell the difference in that football game.
Sure. And, of course, we're coming down to the end of the season, and the Card Trophy, the best player in Southeast Missouri, kind of the equivalent of the Heisman here in Southeast Missouri. We've had some great talent this year. I know a few players are going to be in the running, such as Romello McCoy out of Mullen,
He's the leading rusher in Southeast Missouri. He scored, I think, about 50 touchdowns this season. So I think he's probably the leading contender right now. Kylan Gross over at Sykeston, the quarterback / running back. He's also put up a lot of impressive numbers. Daniel Allen down at Portageville is also getting some attention. A couple dark horses, maybe Robert Bogan over at Charleston, who's had a real impressive season. But I think the first three kids we mentioned are probably the leading contenders. Daryl Monroe was the favorite coming in from the big back out of Caruthersville, but he's just missed so much time due to injury this season that he's probably not going to win it. Of course, he'll be given consideration, but I think probably it's going to come down to McCoy or Gross. And you can make a good case for either of those two young men. They both had great seasons.
Sure. And McCoy, he's going to have the numbers more than anyone else,
Right.
just the outstanding season that he had. But you also got to kind of factor in, Sykeston played at a higher level,
Right.
the numbers. But I think
tougher schedule.
Yeah, but you can pretty much throw the team success out the door
That's
because
true.
they both lost in the semifinal round.
That is true. So I think that's going to get Daryl Monroe and maybe Daniel Allen down at Portageville, especially if they can pull off the upset against Valley. Going to give those maybe move those two young men up and give them a little more consideration. Tough choice this year for the voters in that regard. All of those young men have just had a great season. They're all fine young men from what I understand, off the field as well. So be interesting to see who wins the Card Trophy this year. Last year, LB Fonda, I think, was pretty much the hands-down consensus winner. This year, not so much. A lot of contenders for the trophy.
Sure. So we'll be looking forward to how it all shakes up Monday night in district championship games. And just a reminder, the winner of the districts advanced to the quarterfinal round. It's the round of 8. So it's a little different. Districts we're used to seeing going to the sectionals. Now it's a round
Right to the
ahead,
quarterfinals.
right to the quarterfinals. So basically we're in the round of 16 right now.
Right. And if Caruthersville can hold off Charleston and Maplewood, can win their district, which they should, then that'll be the third year in a row those two teams have met in the playoffs at that round. Hopefully Caruthersville can get over that Maplewood hump this year. If St. John manages to beat Park Hills, they'll get a rematch with John Burroughs in all likelihood in that round. And St. John's had a good season. They're top 10. Of course, Park Hills is as well. But, boy, John Burroughs has just steamrolled everybody. They haven't had a close game all season. And so a tall order for the Dragons if they get past their big rivals in Park Hills Central. Whichever team wins that has got a real uphill battle. John Burroughs maybe just one of the best football teams in the whole state right now, right up there with Christian Brothers and Webb City and some of the other real powerhouse schools. They're just really, really talented.
Yeah, so we'll see how it all shakes up Monday night with the championships, the district round. So we'll have those results for you next week as well. So Travis, we appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
Sharing
Going up to
with
watch
us.
SEMO play football this afternoon.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Red Hawks come away with another big victory.
They got Eastern Kentucky today. So
A little more of a challenge than Austin P was last week, but they got them at home, and hopefully they can get a win.
sure, we'll be looking forward to it. So we'll be having you back in, and then next week's maybe talking about wrapping up football, and of course looking ahead to the winter sports.
That's right.
Their practices started this week.
Both wrestling and girls and boys basketball as practices have started this week, and ought to be an exciting season for girls basketball, especially here in Dexter. They're Final Four contenders this year, bringing their whole team back from how they got all the way to the
Quarterfinals
last
year.
year. So big expectations in Dexter for girls basketball, and the wrestling team I think is poised to have a real good season as well. We could see as many as maybe 5-6 kids go to state this year from the wrestling team. So a lot to look forward to here in winter sports in Southeast Missouri.
Sure. As we wind up fall sports this weekend with volleyball. Bernie's got a good shot for a state title today. So
I hope they have a little better luck with Winona today than they did yesterday.
Yeah.
I think Winona beat them twice yesterday. But good luck to the Lady Mules. Hope they can bring it home. And I think the Bernie boys basketball team is going to be really, really good this year. So a lot to look forward to down there in Bernie as far as boys basketball is concerned.
Yeah, we'll be looking forward to it. And Travis, appreciate you again. And we'll
always a pleasure. Thank you, Tyler.
Have you back to talk more sports in the near future.
Thank you.
All right. And we're going to take a break and be back with more coming up.
At Glen St. and Kennett, we have a lot full of inventory and the best rebates of the year. I'm Danny Ford, owner of Glen St. We just want the opportunity to talk to you about your next car or truck. The rebates are the best of the year and interest rates the lowest to work with. It's a great time to buy, and our people are excited to help you make the right choice. We realize you have a lot of dealers to choose from, but I can assure you no one appreciates your business like we do. Glen St. and Kennett, and God bless our troops.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
All right, let's take a look at some college football and pro football matchups taking place this weekend. And today in college football, Missouri's going to be on the road taking on the Florida Gators in Gainesville. Tough matchup for the Missouri Tigers, playing a top 10 team out of the SEC. So we'll see how that plays out today. 16th ranked Texas A&M at 15th ranked Mississippi State. Nice top 25 matchup between those two teams in the SEC. Pittsburgh's at third-ranked Notre Dame, and yes, Notre Dame's there in the top 5 in the country. Got a shot at a national title game if they can win out. Something we haven't seen out of Notre Dame in quite some time. So Notre Dame Irish looking good at this point. Also, 23rd-ranked Texas at 18th-ranked Texas Tech in the Big 12. 4th-ranked Oregon at 17th-ranked USC. 24th-ranked Oklahoma State at 2nd-ranked Kansas State. Kansas State right there in the hunt, as we haven't seen them in the national championship picture in some time, but they're in there this year. They will host Oklahoma State later on today. Top-ranked Alabama at 5th-ranked LSU. A rematch of last year's national championship game. Should be a great game between those two. LSU needs the win. They've already got one loss on the schedule against Florida. So if they're going to stay in that national title picture, they certainly need a win today against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Arizona State's at 11th-ranked Oregon State. And our local games here, Arkansas State's on the road at North Texas in the Sun Belt. And Eastern Kentucky is at SEMO today in Cape Girardeau. And those are the games taking place here on Saturday. And we'll take a look at pro football for tomorrow. The Dolphins will take on the Colts in Indianapolis. The Broncos at the Bengals. Bears at the Titans. The Lions at the Jaguars. Cardinals at the Packers. Panthers at the Redskins. And that's going to be a battle of two young quarterbacks there. Cam Newton for the Panthers, Rookie of the Year last year. And the talented Robert Griffin III for the Redskins. So it'll be a nice watch there between the Panthers and the Redskins. The Vikings will take on the Seahawks in Seattle. The Steelers will take on the Giants in New York. Should be a good game between those two. And Sunday Night Football, the Cowboys at the Falcons, the undefeated Falcons, hosting the Cowboys. And Monday Night Football, the Eagles taking on the Saints in New Orleans. And quite a high-stakes game for the Eagles. They certainly need a win to stay in playoff contention, and certainly tough times there in Philadelphia at this time. They've really struggled after starting, I think, 2-0. I think they got a losing record at this point, but they certainly need to put some wins together. A lot of talk about Michael Vick maybe not being back as quarterback next year if they don't contend for the playoffs, and even Andy Reid, been there for over a decade, might be gone as well. So some high stakes time for the Philadelphia Eagles to produce at this point. And we'll take a quick break and be back with our basketball schedule here on YHC, our televised schedule. We had that released this past week, so we'll touch on that when we come back.
With an interactive home security system from New Wave, your family comes home to peace of mind. Now we bring you the future of home security. Arm and disarm your system remotely from your office computer or iPhone. Even look in on family or pets with live video from inside your home. In an emergency, our 24/7 alarm monitoring responds with the help you need. Peace of mind wherever you are. Now available from New Wave Communications.
When I was a kid, we didn't have all these wireless devices. We only had one computer plugged into the wall, and we were grateful.
Technology changes fast. Stay ahead with blazing fast internet speeds from New Wave Communications. New Wave delivers the internet with incredible speeds, up to 50 megabits per second. Pick the package that's right for you. New Wave, the area's fastest internet, period.
Kids today don't know how good they have it.
And now we'll take a look at our basketball schedule for YHC for 2012 and 2013. And we got a full schedule available for you this year, doing upwards to around 70 games here in Southeast Missouri and Northeast Arkansas. So we'll take a look at the schedule getting started here next week. Next Friday night, we'll be down in Piggott for Marmaduke at Piggott live here on YHC. We should be able to go to live from the Piggott Gymnasium. So look forward to the first game next Friday night, November 9th, from Piggott. And also the next Monday, we'll be in Rector for Armorel at Rector. And that'll be the first game there in Rector. We get started here in Arkansas, the first few games. They've already been started for a few games there in Arkansas, especially Rector. They've already started for the month of October. So we'll be starting out our first few games there in Northeast Arkansas. Now on the 16th, on the Friday, we'll be down in Piggott again for Osceola at Piggott. And our first game in Missouri, as the defending Class 3 state champions, will open up in Dexter on the 27th on that Tuesday. It'll be live here from the Bearcat Event Center. And looking ahead to November 30th, the Campbell Invitational Tournament Finals. And that'll be on November 30th on Friday. And the dates are going to get mixed up here, I'm afraid. That took two lines there. We'll fix that back up here in a moment. The dates got off. But yeah, the Campbell Invitational Tournament Finals, that's a rotating tournament. I think that's between Holcomb, Bernie, and Campbell. This year it's in Campbell. And it would be teams such as Bernie, Risco, Gideon. No, not Gideon. I don't believe it's Bernie, Risco, Holcomb, Twin Rivers, Bloomfield, East Prairie, and probably a team I'm missing out there. But usually a good tournament to start out the year here locally, the smaller teams. So it's a good matchup for all the smaller teams there in that invitational tournament. So we'll be having the finals of that from Campbell on the 30th. Okay, back to the schedule here. Let's go back next to December 4th. Crothersville's at Kennett. and that'll be live down there in Kennett. Should be a good Boot Hill Conference matchup between those two. And moving ahead, Delta C7 at Risco. We'll be live from the Risco Gymnasium. Malden at Campbell. Malden at Campbell on December 7th. Jackson at Dexter, and that'll be live here on YHC. And we'll take the trip down to Hayti for Holcomb at Hayti. Should be a good matchup, potentially a district matchup between those two. And that'll be on the 13th on a Thursday. Marmaduke at Rector, and that'll be live on YHC. Twin Rivers at Bernie. Crothersville at Malden. Cooters at Clarkton. And, of course, the Bloomfield Christmas Tournament, all 26 games live here on YHC the day after, going through that Saturday here on YHC. Also, our first girls game, Farmington at Dexter on the January 3rd. Malden at Clarkton. And another girls game, Dexter's at Kennett. That'll be live down there from Kennett. Bloomfield at Dexter, and that'll be live from the Bearcat Event Center. Another girls game, Malden at Kennett. That'll be live from Kennett. And also the big game out of Stoddard County each year, Dexter's at Bernie. We'll be down there for that one. And the Malden JV Tournament Finals on Saturday, January 12th. We'll be down there for that one. South Pemiscott's at Kennett. That'll be live on January 15th. Holcomb at Risco, a nice Tri-County Conference matchup there. And that'll be live on January 18th. Portageville at Gideon. And also Risco at Gideon the next night. The Stoddard County Finals night at Bloomfield. All 4 games, JV and varsity, third place in finals on January 25th from Bloomfield. Holcomb at Bernie. Advance at Risco, and that will be live there as well on January 31st. The Boot Hill Conference Tournament Finals at Malden this year will be down there for that one on February 1st on that Friday. And another girls game, Notre Dame at Dexter, live from the Bearcat Event Center. On Tuesday, the next night, New Matter County Central's at Kennett. Will be live there for that one. Rector's at Piggott, live on February 7th. Kennett at Dexter, and that one will be live on February 8th. And game to be determined there on the 9th. Also, we have Twin Rivers at Malden. Bloomfield at Portageville. South Pemiscott at Holcomb. And a live game, Scott City at Dexter. And rounding out the season in Jackson for the girls game between Dexter and Jackson. Should be a great game between those two girls teams, as they've pretty much been two of the top teams here in Southeast Missouri. And the state tournament games will be certainly carrying, and those are to be announced when those games come upon us. So look forward to another great season here on YHC, a full schedule, and we've got some developments that we're coming up with that we're probably going to announce this week, and look forward to next week's roundtable. We're going to roll out some developments we've had here at YHC to make the Southeast Missouri sports environment much more interactive, where you can access a lot more games. So look forward to that next Saturday's roundtable, and we'll probably unveil it this week on YHC Sports, noon, 5:30, 9:30, midnight on YHC throughout the week. So look forward to those developments. This next week should be exciting, just to add to the experience of Southeast Missouri high school athletics. It's starting this year, so look forward to those developments coming this week. And that's all we have for you today, and we appreciate you for tuning in as always. Look forward to having you back next week here on the Roundtable. Look forward to the volleyball game today, Bernie versus Winona. We'll have that here on YHC from the Show Me Center in Cape Girardeau. Look forward to that at 3 o'clock, and go Bernie Lady Mules. Take home that state title today there in Cape Girardeau. And as I said, we look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, I'm Tyler Wagner. Have yourself a great one.